All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Wednesday night, June 1st. Tom was with me.
Hey, man.
We're not previewing this one. This was our last blended batch that come out, Duro Cruise. That is what's in my glass that I'm warming up with.
And that's what I'm warming up with here. Maybe a couple previous blended batches. This is a Black Oak.
Black Oak.
The
Nice
Speyside malt in Gascon Black Oak. They used to age Armagnac in. So yeah, that's what I've got. Just to get the old palate working. I didn't want anything too kind of high ABV because we are tasting a blended batch that's diluted to 50%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
I say brought down. It's brought down to 50%.
It's brought down. Yeah, it's brought down. Sure, right. But still, it packs a good punch, even at 50. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we want to reveal the this one something? Do we want to reveal that first?
Let's do it. Let's just
Okay.
Crank this shit up to 11. Let's not beat around the bush here, man.
All right.
Yeah.
This is brand new blended batch 13 Tabanco time. And I had a good focus. Come back. There we go.
Get in focus there, kiddo. There we are.
11-year-old. This is a blend of Speyside and Highlands. And I'll let you run through the casks that we're looking at here.
Oh my goodness. It's a merry blend of, it's essentially Ewan's Solera system. So he has casks that are American oak, that are Spanish oak, quarter cask, hogsheads, and butts. So he has all kinds of shapes, sizes, Pedro Jimenez and Oloroso, American, Spanish oak, and he's just playing mad scientist with these whiskeys, with these sherried, Solera system whiskeys. So the first was Exotic Cargo.
Oh yeah.
And here we are today with Tabanco time. And man, I've already poured mine. So Jesus, look at that color.
I know it.
For goodness gracious.
For an 11-year-old,
yeah,
and brought down to 50%. Yeah, gorgeous color. Unbelievable. And well, no, we'll just wait we won't give any spoilers out here. But this one, what award did this just win?
Oh, well, I happen to have a little bling kicking around the old office. So that, my friends, is a San Francisco World Spirits Competition double gold medal.
Double gold.
So the good folks at World Spirits Competition decided that this little ditty was worthy of a double gold. Yeah. We didn't win the whole competition like we did in 2018, but hey, I'll take a double gold any day of the week.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a delicious whiskey. It certainly earned it.
Yeah.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but yeah, I tasted it earlier, man. Holy moly. So yeah. Listen, I was telling you this before we went live, Scott. Like the awards are fantastic. They really are. I wish we could enter all of our whiskeys into these awards competitions because there's so many amazing expressions that we have. But this guy was entered and it did very, very well. So we're really excited to share this with everyone tomorrow. This whiskey drops at 1 p.m. Eastern time, as most of our releases do. And it will be, as you see on the ticker, a 1-bottle limit. We want to spread this out as much as we can, make sure everybody gets a taste. So be quick, at least be swift. I wouldn't wait around too long on this one. I have a feeling it's gonna vanish pretty quickly.
One thing real quick, this is, and it's not on the label anywhere else. It is in the deep, rich, and dried fruits or Dirtif flavor profile as well.
Yeah, it's a Dirtif, and essentially, I classified that as such. In the UK, they're typically not assigning blended batch whiskeys flavor profiles, but I always have a little conversation with Ewan, like, hey, if you were to, what would it be? And this one certainly, this is You smell it, you taste it.
Yeah.
This is the epitome of deep, rich, and dried fruits, or lovingly known as Dirtif.
Yeah.
When Scott's on camera.
And I'm wearing my Dirtif shirt.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, that's like your shirt is like a sherry tasting flight right there. You know, you got like some like drier, like manzanilla, amontillado.
Oh, yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you go to like maybe some oloroso. Is that sort of like maroon color, and then the darker PX. I mean, you got it all, man. My shirt's more of just a lumberjack tasting, but that's okay.
All right.
Oh man.
Yeah. The nose is just all the PX. Think of all the PX notes, Oloroso notes, all those different cask types. It's so sweet. There's so many of those sherry fruits, those sherry notes in there. There's a sweet pipe tobacco with them.
Yeah, man, you rattle off these descriptors. You're very good at this.
Well,
you know, I've noticed that a lot of our recent Dirtif casks, deep, rich, and dried fruit casks, are coming through maybe, and this is, you know, either straight Oloroso most of the time, a little bit of PX, are coming through a bit more savory. You know, like kind of almost a bit more like roasted meats and stewed fruits and that sort of thing. But this is just like sugary, spicy. I mean, you have the molasses, you have all kinds of cabinet spice on the nose. Beautiful dried fruits. Oh God.
Oh, I know.
Like runny, like spiced honey. Oh,
there's a raisin.
I guess that's the American oak coming through. So American oak is going to bring the vanilla, the honey, maybe some coconut characteristic to the table. The Spanish oak is going to give you this really deep, dark color. Sometimes a bit of nuttiness, but always a huge amount of spice and tannic structure. And yeah, that's the beauty of the blend, right? I mean, much like the festival bottlings that were just released last month, you know, those were all vattings of single malts. Ewan had the chance to kind of, you know, play around and create a composition as opposed to just like a one-hit wonder type thing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of the same situation here. And man, there's something to be said for getting all those different profiles together. It really, really sings, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of berries in there with it. I was going to say like a minced raisin, not minced raisin, but a raisin pie, if there is such a thing. Blackberries and raspberries.
It's I don't know if you've ever had something called pain au raisin. It's like a kind of a swirly, like very dense, like pastry. You would get like if you go to a Pret, you know, like a Pret a manger or something. Like it's sitting next to the croissants and the chocolate croissants and stuff, and it's just raisins and like dank pastry and like kind of glazed with a kind of an icing, and it's I get a lot of that in this nose.
Very
nice.
much
a pain au raisin.
Yeah. Wow.
Oof, yeah, that's nice. I mean, this is one of those whiskeys you could just sit here and nose, right? I mean, we could coax a lot of different things out of this.
Yeah, just beautiful nose. Let's see
I feel like I'm getting some petrichor.
There you go.
If I sit with it, kind of claw through all that beautiful figgy sweetness, there is just a touch of damp earth to give it some depth. Oh boy, that's really nice, man.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
The nose is. Well, let's see if the palate matches the nose, shall we?
Sure. Slanja.
Cheers. I don't want to swallow it, but
it's a mouthful of whiskey, man.
We need to bring some notes here. We've got to talk. We can't just sit here and swish whiskey around in our mouth.
it's bringing like waves of different things. I'm now probably on the third wave, which is kind of nutmeggy, a lot of cabinet spice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm getting a lot of cabinet spice. Really gorgeous.
Up front, the fruitiness, all those
Gingerbread.
berries.
Yeah, almost like a little bit like a Whopper, like a malted chocolate ball.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The sweetness and the berries and the fruits up front. Then the spice starts to kick in. The oaks, vanillas, caramels.
Yeah, yeah.
Toasted nuts, toasted nutmeg, toasted
hazelnuts.
almonds. Yep. All on the finish as it moves through. Toasted vanillas. Still a lot of fruitiness, though, with it as well.
Gorgeous fruit. A lot of what they call sultanas, like those golden raisins.
Mm-hmm.
More, I mean, kind of fresh fig. I'm getting more of a fresh fig than like a pruny kind of character. You know, it's bright.
Yeah, yeah,
juicy almost.
Oh yeah, yeah, very juicy. Yeah, good call. Man, wow. Fruity but chewy. I don't get, like you had pointed out, some of the other ones we've had lately. They kind of really had this meaty savoriness. Not here, I don't think.
Which I love, but no, yeah,
Right.
this is just like fancy free, like dessert course type stuff. You know,
yeah,
it's really really good.
I'm
And as I mentioned that, I'm almost getting like a chocolate sundae or something.
Ooh.
You know? Like with like nuts on it, chocolate sauce, vanilla ice cream, all that stuff happening.
That big fat cherry,
little maraschino cherry on top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Bingo.
Good, man. Bring on the tasting panel, Scott. Here we go.
Yeah. I mean, this is.
So, and listen, you know, for being, as you say, brought down to 50%, it's got some balls. I mean, it's got some intensity for sure.
Yeah. Very, very surprising from first sip when I cracked it. And I shot my review of it today, so I had some notes in my head coming in. But yeah, just a beautiful, beautiful whiskey. They did a good job of putting this one together. Everything's married very nicely here, and just it's a beautiful palate, beautiful nose, and a beautiful whiskey. I can see why it won double gold.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really hope the next time I go over to see the boys in Scotland, Ewan will show me his Solaris system. I'm not sure if he will, but I would love to see how he has this organized and how you make that happen. Because I imagine it's got to be dozens and dozens of casks that he's moving contents around in, and right, it does sound like a great blend for. I mean, $115 for this quality whiskey. I mean, this is a no-brainer. So forgive me, guys, for limiting you to one bottle. Just want to make sure we spread this wealth around to as many members as possible. But rest assured, the next Ex Solera blended batch that the UK releases, I'm going to be going for more like 800 bottles than 300. But we do have 360 bottles that came over of this to the US, so it's a good amount. But again, I don't think it's really going to hang around too long with this kind of profile.
Yeah,
just stunning, really stunning.
And I would tell people that are watching, if you haven't ever caught it before, or you don't know, Tom is responsible or plays a big part in what whiskeys come to the States. So when you're drinking these single casks, these different whiskeys, different month out turns, mid-month out turns and stuff, Tom has played a huge role in bringing those to the United States for our members. And I think most people would probably agree that you're doing a fantastic job. and it's just the
Thanks, man.
quality of whiskeys that we're getting is just phenomenal.
Agreed. I mean, it starts in Scotland. The team over there is fantastic, and you know, we're trying to bring really interesting whiskey over to the U.S. because, I mean, quite frankly, I think we're some of the most discerning whiskey enthusiasts in the world.
Yeah,
and you know, you gotta keep it fresh for the members here. So we're really trying to do that, and you know, I appreciate that, Scott, but you know, it's a team effort. It's all of us. It's all of us for sure. I mean, I do have my finger on more of the logistics part of it, which isn't easy these days. But
yeah,
you know, when you get to pop open something like this, it's like, oh yeah, that's why it's worth it. You know, like it's really some tremendous whiskey, and we have. I mean, not to get ahead of ourselves, but we've got a pretty incredible June coming up too. I mean, we just off the heels of festival month, we still have plenty of festival casks. Some of those bottlings left. I think a few have sold out. Daniel, this is a 750 ml for this expression we're tasting tonight.
I've had a few people ask me on the phone. I don't know if you have any insight about, because of the festival bottles, the rare release bottlings at 700 milliliters. Is there any plans? Do you know that where the SMWS is planning on completely just switching to 700 milliliters?
Absolutely, yes. So these 700 mLs that came over last month were an exception to the current inventory rule. However, later this year, and it's hard to gauge specifically, but I'm thinking maybe October or so, you will start seeing 700 mLs be released. And I would venture to guess that maybe by this time next year, or maybe a little closer to September, we will have moved through all of the 750s and only be doing 700s. So eventually it will be 100% 700 ml in the US. So that just makes things a lot easier production wise for the UK. Makes the whole operation a lot more efficient.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what I've told people. I said, well, I don't have any insight on that or whatnot, but it wouldn't surprise me if we did, just because, the US has had this 750 milliliter code or regulation, where bottles had to be that size, and everything in the UK is 700 milliliters.
Right. So in January of 21, the TTB said, hey, the US can do whatever you want now, all kinds of bottle sizes that were previously illegal in the US were now granted to be legal. However, the UK didn't get the memo. And like a few weeks before, like maybe mid-December, we had already placed a huge bottle order with our supplier for 750 mLs. So we still had to work through all that glass. So, it is what it is. And probably, a year from now or so, we'll see just about all 700 mLs.
It's going to make things easier. I mean, just because you don't have to have different bottles, you don't have to have different labels, and all that. So it's going to be a lot easier for the team in any distillery, really, in Scotland and the UK, to have one standard sized bottle that they're producing and that they're bottling.
Well, there are still countries, like Canada and South Africa, who are still using 750s exclusively. But hopefully, that changes and we can be consistent throughout the globe. But in any case, I think it means more whiskey for everybody. You can eke a few more bottles out of those casks when you're decreasing by 50 mLs.
Josh Dilworth is asking who decides the U.S. exclusives.
Oh, that's a team kind of effort. It's myself kind of spearheading that with the UK team, and we have more and more exclusive casks, so it's a project that's growing each and every year. But I think we're managing to find some really cool casks, and I hope everyone's happy with those. I think you're going to be very happy with the seasonal selections that are coming your way throughout the rest of this year. To this point, you've only seen the spring seasonal selection, but in July you'll see the summer, and then second half of the year you'll see fall and winter. So some cool things there, and then of course the tasting panel experience bottlings. So a lot happening. Yeah.
And 50 milliliters, for those wondering, it's actually a little over an ounce and a half. 30 milliliters is an ounce. So it's just under 2 ounces is the difference, in the whiskey. So maybe 2 small pours of whiskey is
about 7%. It's a 7% reduction.
Is that what it's 7%?
In volume. 6.7, 6.8%.
Yeah.
Decrease in volume reduction. So will that be reflected in the price? I would love to say absolutely yes. We're going to have a 6.7 or 6.8% price reduction in all of these bottles, but quite frankly, the way of the world pre-COVID and post-COVID are two very different beasts. So we're gonna do our best to give everybody the best pricing possible, and I do hope that translates into a bit of a price reduction on these bottlings moving forward. But again, a lot of moving pieces. So stay tuned.
We've been sitting here talking. This has got some air. I've added a drop of water. A lot of tropical notes are starting to come out now.
I didn't add any water. Do I want to add water? I guess I will.
A little bit of grilled pineapple just came out of it. A little bit of mango. But yeah, overall, just a little bit more tropical showing now. Very nice. Still. Woo. All right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wow. The fruit really lifts out with some water, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It brought out a lot more of it. Even there was a lot of fruit to begin with, but water even really kind of helped coax some more out of it. Not surprisingly, I about said surprisingly, but even for a 50% whiskey, even a 43% whiskey, I'll add when I'm tasting it, I'm going to add a little bit of water just to see what happens and see if it adds anything. But yeah, surprisingly, even at 50% here, it opened it up, changed it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little hesitant to add water to a 50% ABV whiskey, but I mean, I probably wouldn't, if I were just enjoying this, with you over some Memorial Day brisket or something, I probably wouldn't add anything to it, but it's nice to see where the water takes it, and it's quite good.
All right. Well, I think we can wrap it up. Thanks to everybody that tuned in again to Bonko Time. Blended batch 13 will be available at 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. $115 limit of 1 bottle per member. So get in there early and get yourself a bottle. You'll be glad you did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's June 1st. It's a long month, man. We got Father's Day coming up.
Oh.
Arguably outside of the holidays, the biggest occasion for fun whiskey.
Yeah.
So stay tuned to the Outturn preview next week and to the Outturn release on Tuesday. I assure you all it will be worth your time.
Yeah. All right. And remember, Scotch Malt Whiskey Society whiskeys are not for swigging, glugging, or knocking back. Please drink responsibly. Cheers.
Slàinte mhath.